Hello everyone, welcome to Learnzilla. Today we'll discuss about the strategy which we'll be following to prepare for campus placements and how our app is going to help you in doing exactly that. So we'll just try to understand what are the different aspects that you will have to cover as part of your campus placements and how effectively to use the app to maximize your preparation for the process. So with that in mind, let us go ahead and get started. So firstly, before we begin with strategizing and all, let us first try to understand what are all the things that form or that are to be covered as part of your campus preparation. So all of this is just from the perspective of not just like company specific process. I'm just trying to tell it in a generic way. So for any company placement, so the general idea that you should have is the company might have an aptitude test. So this is like 80-85 companies are having an aptitude test these days. So this is something that you can take it for a mandate kind of a thing. So aptitude test generally comprises of quantitative ability, logical reasoning, data interpretation, and verbal ability. So 4 sections is what any aptitude test typically comprises of. So there can be some exceptional cases where other sections might also be added. So but on the aptitude side, these 4 sections are what you generally come across. Technical skills, yes, when you're applying for a specific company for a specific profile, you might have profile based questions, you might have coding, you might have a simulation, assuming that it's a core company, or if it's a software company, you generally have a coding round. So this can also be a part of your aptitude paper sometimes. And group discussion and personal interviews. So group discussions and personal interviews are the last stage of your preparation. So once your preparation is done and all, and once you have cleared these 2 things, this is what you have, GD and PI. And just out of all these, apart from these 3 things that we are discussing, which are part of the process, current affairs and industry knowledge will definitely help you in acing the interviews, because whatever profile you apply for, whatever industry that company is in, and related and relevant current affairs that are happening in the day-to-day life. So these are some things which will help you in ensuring that you comprehensively prepare for a campus placement. So these things, all in all, if you look at, so this will give you a 360-degree preparation idea when you are facing an interview, and the rest depends on how you perform and all. So let us first very briefly understand how to prepare for all 4 of these individual sections, and then how to use our app to maximize your preparation and prepare very thoroughly for all these sections that you have as part of your process. So firstly, let us understand how an aptitude test generally works out and how your preparation should be. So in a quantitative aptitude kind of a section, so when you have quants, logical reasoning, data interpretation, and verbal, so for an aptitude test, be it for any company or any process, the idea is it just comes under the purview of these 4 points. So first is you have to learn the basics. So when you're talking about any aptitude test, so the company specific or subject specific, your understanding of basics is very important, because 90% of the times questions can be solved with a very strong understanding of basics, because that is what is being tested in these examinations. So there can be a one-off case, or there can be instances where 10% of the questions might come in a little complex manner, but the idea is with you having a very good understanding on the basics, you will be able to cover 90% of your paper. So basics are very important. Second is problem solving in practice. So with aptitude, the thing is this is a very important key practice, because there are multiple models of questions under the same concept. So for you to get an understanding, because in exam the most important thing is speed, because it's not about your skill to solve the question, it's about your ability to solve it in the stipulated amount of time, and you maximize your number of hits in the 2 hour or 2.5 hour time that you have for the exam, and maintain a very good accuracy. And for you to maintain accuracy, for you to solve them with a lot of speed, for you to cover a lot of models, practice is something that will help you very in a very extensive way. Next, coming to mock tests and self-evaluation, because once you have covered the basics, once you have solved a good number of problems, it's important for you to take a mock test. See, only once you take a mock test, you will understand your pitfalls, you'll understand your areas of improvement. So it need not be the same for every person. It depends on person to person. But this is something that everyone should pay attention to, because mock tests serve as a barometer to measure how well prepared you are for a particular examination. And this is by far the most important point that we have discussed, self-evaluation, because mock tests are designed in such a way that they create the real exam type of a feel. So once you get through a mock test and once you make some mistakes, it's always important to evaluate and learn. So many people fail in this particular aspect. They become a little lethargic when you have to go through the same question paper that you have solved again. But this will prove out to be fatal if you do not pay much attention to this kind of a thing during your examination. And the last but not the least is you have to unlearn and relearn. So there can be instances where you must have understood to solve a problem in a particular method. But what happens when you go through an examination, when you solve the question and analyze, you understand that the same question which you have solved in 3-4 minutes can be solved in a matter of 1 minute or 2 minutes. So this is where you have to unlearn what you've already learned and you have to relearn the right method, because in the end it is about a game of speed and accuracy. Only these two things are going to help you sail through successfully. So this is just very vividly, if you discuss about preparation for an aptitude tests, these are all the things that you should cover. Next, coming to preparation for technical tests. So these will be purely dependent on the company that you are applying for and the kind of questions that the company wants to ask you. So for this, what you have to understand is you have to see the relevant skill set that the company is looking for. So suppose the company is looking to recruit someone for a C++ or a Java kind of a profile, but your proficiency level is in, let's say, shell scripting or .NET or something else. So you have to first do an analysis thoroughly, how relevant you are to that particular profile. And if you really feel that you can manage that kind of a requirement that the company is looking for, then you should always go ahead and apply. And once you do that, you should be ready to acquire the relevant skill set that the company is looking for. Because most of the time what happens is they have a code based, at least I'm talking about service and IT companies, they have a code based round where they'll test the student on the kind of technology they are looking for when they recruit for a particular profile. So that is where this relevant skill set part comes in very handy. And especially for these kind of tests, the previous year question papers will be a very good barometer for you to measure your preparedness and things that you should actually cover for that particular test. So this is something that is very important, especially in technical examinations. And you have to work on scenario based problems and cases, because what happens is most of the times these companies give you a problem statement. You have 2 hours and 3 hours of time to come up with a solution. So where you have a multiple classes and all, if at all it's in Java. So that depends on the kind of technology that the company is looking to hire for. But understand that you will never get a proper program to find maybe the Fibonacci number or something. So these are things which you just learn to get a good understanding of the language. But in exam and in these kind of examinations, always be prepared for scenario based problems and cases. So that's a little about technical tests. Now let's proceed and understand about the prerequisites for a group discussion and personal interview. So group discussion, you should always understand it is more of an elimination. It is always used as a measure to eliminate people rather than select them, because let's say if 50-60 people apply for a particular profile and the company can only interview 7 to 8 people and they're only looking for 1-2 openings. So this is the typical scenario that happens when the profile is very niche. Or sometimes what happens is the company gives shortlist for 230-250 people and they are looking to select some 60-70 people. So but for them to achieve this number, they have to eliminate some people. And most of the times, apart from the aptitude test, GD is used as a proper tool for elimination, because 11-12 people enter the GD and only 1-2 people come out successfully. So this is something that you should understand. And always remember, GD if you go through the videos that we have done on GD, so you will understand how a GD has to be structured, how you have to put in your points once the GD starts. So what are the type of value additions that you can give to the group discussion. So these are some things that we have very exhaustively covered. So but here, just for the purpose of understanding, you have to first structure your thoughts and emphasize on the view with the relevant data points, because data is something that is very important, and the structure through which you are following in the GD is very important. So just going about different things in a haphazard way may not always help. So this is something that you should look at, and you just follow all the tips that we have suggested in GDs. You see some mock GDs on the internet, you attend some mock GDs in your campus. So this will help you get a good sense and practice about GDs. And personal interviews, one thing that is of high importance is how you prepare your CV, and you should be very thorough about it. Understand the job description very clearly, because most of the time what happens is people are not completely aware of what role they are applying for. So ideally that should not be a case, but that's an irony. So it happens frequently. So people should be very clear with this and this when you're talking about personal interviews. And then you have to be sensible while answering. You have to pay attention to detail, because you have to just answer the kind of question that is put to you and what answer is expected out of it. You cannot just beat around the bush, because interviewers typically interview 50-60 people every day, and they always want something from students, which is someone who is answering in a very precise way, to the point, and not beating around the bush. Just to again repeat. So thorough industry knowledge on current happenings helps in sailing through this stage successfully, because an interviewer always likes a student or an applicant who is aware of the things in the industry, who is aware of what is happening in the outside world, and if he can associate those things to what is expected out of him in the job, maybe some things can match. So that is something of a value addition if you can do. And interview puzzles you have to solve, because this will only help you to just develop your problem solving skills. So just to emphasize on this point, I'll just run you through this particular slide. So on the app, if you see, you have a section for puzzles, interview puzzles. So in this section, we have managed to cover these different types of puzzles, both on the analytical, logical, and lateral thinking side. So what happens is some of them are very, very famous puzzles. Once you see this, you just go through the list of them. So you have some 60-70 puzzles at least. And once you go through this list, what you'll understand is this should help you. The idea behind making all these puzzles is, it's not just same puzzle can be repeated in the examination. You should just use this and develop a problem solving ability, how to approach a particular scenario. So that is what puzzles help you in. So once you do it, we expect you to think on similar lines when a case is given to you, or when a problem statement is given to you during an interview. So that is the sole idea behind these puzzles, and we have a very vast and very good collection of puzzles here on the app. So I would recommend everyone to please go through them, just understand and develop a sense of problem solving. So this will actually come very handy, I'm telling you. Now let us proceed, because we have already covered just how preparation for each of the sections that are expected as part of your campus placement preparation should be done. And now let us go ahead and understand how our app exactly helps you in achieving this, and how to use the app properly to ace the campus placements. So if you look at the app, so the way in which it's structured is, so we have an aptitude section related preparation content. We have content to help you with the technical preparation, and we have content to help you prepare the GDPI part. So how it works is, so under the aptitude section, let's say a typical aspirant starts to prepare using the app. So the idea should be, so his area of interest right now is to start preparing for the quantitative aptitude part. So he'll go through the app, he'll start with the aptitude part, under which he'll find 4 modules. One is quantitative aptitude, so all of them being separate. One is verbal ability, one is logical reasoning, and the other is data interpretation. So let's say he's an avid reader, so he has good understanding of grammar from school, and he's good with the verbal ability part as it is. So what he will be looking for is, he'll be looking to start with the quantitative aptitude DI and LR section first. So the quantitative front, if you start with, so the way in which the course is structured is, you have everything right from the basics. So in the quantitative section, what we have done is we have tried to divide it into 6 different modules. Just for instance, so if you are a beginner, if you have no understanding on any of these concepts, and if you just want to start with the preparation for your campus placement, so you might begin with something like a percentage or a ratio or a proportion or an average. So you can pick up any topic which is part of your exam preparation and you can start learning it. So what happens is, entire course modules and sub modules are structured in such a way that they give a comprehensive understanding to someone who is starting at a beginner level as well. So you start, let's say, a topic called percentages. So we start with the definition of what a percentage is and how X% of something has to be understood, and what is a percentage increase and a percentage decrease. So this is the level where we start the content, and then we go to individual problems, we go to word problems, we go to set based problems, and we go to problems that are actually asked in examinations, the kind of models that are expected to be given in a question paper in an examination. So those will also be covered and followed by a subject level mock test. So this end-to-end preparation, and we ensure that all these things are done within some 90 to 120 minutes time slot. So understand, if you are spending, let's say, even if you start and if you revise the videos, if you play back and forth, in 2 hours, if you are able to complete a topic right from the scratch to the level that is asked of you in an examination, that's a 2 hours well spent. That is what I would say. Similarly, if you start with LR, so logical reasoning, we start right from puzzles, logical puzzles, seating arrangements, blood relations, and we also talk about individual word-based problems, numerical series, letter series. So these are things that we cover. We cover non-verbal reasoning, symbol-based questions, so direction sense. So you talk about it and you have it here. So let's say when I'm talking about a topic like seating arrangement, it's a very famous topic when it comes to aptitude examinations. So a 5-mark question or a 5-question based set is something that you can easily expect from this topic or any day. So the understanding here with seating arrangements is we will talk about what a seating arrangement is. So what is a linear seating arrangement? What is a circular seating arrangement? So linear seating arrangement, what is the direction in which we consider the entries? And in circular arrangements, we talk about clockwise arrangement, counterclockwise arrangement, and a mix of both. And then we solve some individual problems to let you understand how arrangements in different contexts work. And then we go with the word-based problems, and then we go with the set-based problems. And you practice a fair number of set-based problems, and it is a given that once you are done with this course, again, typically we plan every course to fall in between the time slot. Even if you ensure some replays back and forth, still in 120 minutes of time, you are able to comprehensively cover linear and circular arrangements. So that is the level of application and understanding that the app allows you to go across in each of the modules. So let's say now, after some time you feel that I have covered a good amount of aptitude and reasoning. So let me see what is it that I have to do in verbal ability. So in verbal ability, what happens is when you're starting with verbal ability, so you have reading comprehension, you have parajumbles, you have sentence correction, you have vocabulary, you have sentence passage corrections. So you have all these things that are there. So once you visit that section, let's say if you want to just glance through an RC and see how much you're able to score, so that is something that we have facilitated. And when you want to do a parajumble, that is also there. So you will just go through the sections, you will understand how parajumble should be solved, what are the signs that you should look for, and how do you structure a parajumble. So these are some things that we have ensured that the verbal ability section comprises of. And for someone who is starting off with data interpretation, so who feels that this is all calculation and number intensive, we have discussed about shortcuts on how you can solve these questions in DI. So we have first taken care of the prerequisites that are there in this particular module when you're starting with data interpretation. So what all things should be understood before you actually start solving questions in DI, and we have an exhaustive list of questions for practice, because in DI it's all about practice. So that is also something that we have ensured. So on the aptitude front, if you look at every module, every sub module, we have ensured that for someone who is using an app, so this app may be used by a beginner who does not have any idea on the preparation that is required. So an amateur who has a decent idea, but he just wants to, practice more to become a better person in this particular area, or an expert who just wants to glance through the topics for a revision and wants to solve a few problems. So this is a best bet for all three of them. So this will, for him, it will help in such a way that it ensures coverage. So once he glances through a module, he understands that in time, speed and distance, let's say if he's going through everything, he might understand that, yeah, races is something that I have not covered. So I have to read about linear races and circular races. So that is what I can get from this topic. An amateur, suppose he is following a method to solve questions in time and work, but that is proving out to be a little time consuming. But here he learns a new method, maybe unitary method or something, and he feels that, yeah, I have actually got a lot of help from this particular module. So for a beginner, though, end to end we are covering. So for at every level of your preparation, you are gaining something from the application. So that is exactly what we have done, and that is what our goal is right from the beginning when we started this. So that is how aptitude is taken care for you. And when we talk about the technical aspect of it, and aptitude may just one thing I wanted to tell you, I have told this before, but I'm just telling it again. So you have a module level mock tests, you have an exam type mock tests, and you have a comprehensive full length mock test. So all these things will help you refine your preparation on multiple stages, help you become very well prepared for the examination. Technically, we have covered all the important concepts that are asked of you. So what are the different coding methodologies or coding techniques that are expected of you? So how to use different functions, pointers, etc. So that we have ensured, and we have given a collective set of examples which will help you understand these details in depth and just apply it in similar context in the examination. So for GD and PI, we have taken a lot of effort in designing some simulated GDs just to understand and help you go through how different how different are GDs from other parts of your preparation. So because GDs are always relative, and how well you put forth your thoughts. So we have emphasized a lot on the presentation skills and how to develop your content for GDs. So this is also something that we have taken up in the GD section. So again, for PIs, especially, we have taken a lot of effort for puzzles. So puzzles, we have ensured that you have a proper coverage on this particular part. And PI, we have helped you with all the tips that are required to start a PI. And we'll also be having some mock PIs or maybe some understanding of experiences from PI. So these are also something that you can look for in the app. So you understand from a student standpoint, everything that is required for a preparation, everything that you should be aware of has been touched upon, and proper care has been taken to present you with in-depth coverage. So next time what I'll do is I'll summarize this entire discussion and I'll put in bullet points the advantage that Learnzilla app gives you in your preparation. So you compare it with any offline method of study or any other method that you might follow, and I don't think you'll be missing out on anything. In fact, you'll be gaining a few things here that you don't there. So one thing I would like to talk about is flexibility. So it all depends on your learning pace, how fast you can learn things, and how well do you want to structure your preparation. It all depends on the flow. So maybe someone wants to start with the coding and decoding in a logical reasoning class, and someone wants to start with a blood relationship. So it all depends on how exactly do you want to make your preparation, the order in which you plan it. So basically, I'm just talking about customization when you talk about a preparation type of a thing. So it's curated content and in-depth coverage. So this is something that I have emphasized. So we have very good content which is curated to ensure in-depth coverage, and solve examples and a good number of practice problems. So we have solved some examples, and similar ones were given out in the mock tests, or similar ones were given out in the module tests, Topic wise mock test, we have already discussed about this, and full length mock test company wise is something that we have already discussed. So 90 to 120 minutes of every day of your time will help you sail through all these modules in just a matter of 2 months. So what I'm saying is, for a beginner, in 2 months of time, with a proper strategy, you will be able to cover the entire portion. So that's a very good proposition for someone who is starting their preparation. And I'll just wind it up with my experience in campus placements. So my experience, definitely it's an offline type of an experience. So I have just gone through all the basics for all the modules that are required. So my issue was, it is a little scattered when it comes to understanding content, because I sometimes used to pick up stuff from the class when it was given in an offline mode, and sometimes I pick up things from online videos where I don't understand the concept entirely. The problem is, it always used to be in bits and pieces. So sometimes an instructor X teaches it and sometimes an instructor Y teaches it, and I understand that always something that X teaches is more, clear for me to understand than Y. And I cannot request X to, take the content that I didn't understand when the other person has taken it previously. So this is some issue that I have faced, and coverage standpoint, whatever was told is the actual thing that has to be covered for that particular module has been ensured. But to solve a lot of practice problems on that, to solve module tests and company specific tests was a little difficult. So this is one issue that I have faced back then during my campus preparation. And I hope the app will be able to help you address that particular issue, because everything is at one place. It's on you to pick whatever you want, but we have ensured that everything is kept in one place for you to understand. And the style of teaching and the content delivery method is same across all the modules. So that will help the student to get that flexibility. So sometimes if I miss a class, it's kind of a problem for me to just understand the concept again. So there will be some lag. So that is something that you don't have here, because the app is with you and it's on you to prepare whenever you want it. That is how preparation has emerged over the years. So now we are in the digital time, and it is very high time that things should be customized, things should be flexible for us to learn, and learning should no longer be a challenge. So that is what I just wanted to put forward. And one thing I would suggest you, for people who are just closing out on this video, we have also made videos where we have taken content specific sections: quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, LR, and verbal ability. And in each of these modules, we have given a weekly plan. Let's say for a quant, we have designed a 6-week plan to cover entire modules in quant, and let's say a 4-week plan to cover the entire syllabus in logical reasoning. So I would recommend you to go through these videos also, because this will help you in a more comprehensive way, because these videos are very specific and they are only subject centered. So this is what I am giving you as an overview. But if you want the specific to break down things even at a granular level, so I would recommend you to go through this particular videos. So just to ensure that you are confident by the end of the 2-3 months of your preparation, please understand that with a proper planning and a proper strategy, so preparing for campus placements in 2 months is not a challenge at all. So all you have to do is a little regular. You have to put in effort every day, and you have to have a proper plan through which you can do this. And give a good number of mock tests. Always analyze the results. You post the questions that you are having doubts on, so people are ready to help. And apart from that, I've given you my experience as well. So you have to revise the topics which you feel are a little, there is a chance that you might forget the concept if you don't revise it before the examination. So these are some things that you should plan, and that completely depends on the student. So with that in mind, I'm just closing out this video, and I would recommend you to very strongly watch this, because they will give you an understanding of how to strategize your preparation at a very, very specific level. Okay, thank you.